Man, all I got to say is this: them YouTube feds is after Roger, boy. The Roger Report, the Roger Report Live, and the Roger Report 3. Those are Roger 3 main shows. You know, he goes from time to time, flipping back and forth. He actually, the Roger Report was his first channel that got flagged. It was actually a pretty good channel. Then turned around, started the Roger Report Live. Roger Report Live was doing pretty good. What's going on, Gilgami? The Roger Report Live was doing pretty good. You know, he was discussing some things along the line of, I guess MGTOW and stuff. Happened to that channel. So he started the Roger Report 3. In the process of doing the Roger Report 3, the Roger Report channel had been released to the point where he could actually go back live on that one while he was doing 3. So had issue with that channel. And went over to the first one, then crossed over and went back. Like, bruh, YouTube is after Roger, yo. That's all I got to say about that. Hello? She couldn't say nothing about this. Go P, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's happening?
Yeah, man, what's going on?
What's happening? Yeah, man. Hold on. Yeah, man. Roger. People. Roger. People hating on Rogers. Yeah, they flag him and all that. Something about Roger, man. Something about Roger.
Hey, hating is not the word. There's like Purity kicking his channel to the curb. Like they
Yeah,
hit him each channel. And then they came back and hit him again. Like, what more
yeah,
do you want?
yeah. They don't
What
like
more do
Roger.
you
And you know
want?
what? That's gonna make him a even bigger. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's gonna
Why are
make
you targeting him so much?
you doing a great thing when you keep kicking him off. You're doing a great thing. You know what I'm saying? Because you making him. People gonna be like, why they keep kicking off? You know what? We're gonna keep trying to find Roger. They're gonna go into trying to find what he's talking about. Okay, they're
It's
gonna
crazy.
go looking for him. Yeah, they're gonna look for him. I want to say good morning to Kareem. Good morning, Lazo, Giogami. Good morning, everybody. You know, good morning. Kareem says he need to do a podcast, perhaps start on Anchor and maybe do a website, so they can't get rid of that. Yeah, you know, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this, to be honest, this is the whole biggest thing in which everybody is talking, but nobody's doing. This is
Uh-huh.
why a prime example of having our own platform
Uh-huh.
is to be a big thing. And all this, guys crying about I mean, I'm gonna be upfront with it about the
Go
paper.
ahead.
Guys are crying about their image being used in the Manosphere paper. So what? That gives you free publicity for your channel to grow. Guys had issue with the name being called the Black Manosphere, like it was gonna be a power grab, because the magazine is supposed to determine the Manosphere in whole. Well, you can make a Manosphere 2, the Black Manosphere 2 book. So you got that first book, the Manosphere 2 book, and are they the same company or are they two different companies? Nobody knows, but the point of it is they're going to start going after the book that's the best information and knowledge that benefits you and your mindset. So that's an issue at hand. Like the list, I told people about the list. If you're mad about the list, make your own list. See, it's so much of a struggle on trying to, dominate that power in this space, whether it be the list, whether it be the magazine, whether it be your voice. You know, it's a power structure because um, Kane says it all the time. I'm on YouTube's platform. YouTube is giving me a chance to speak, and it's an honor. And if they want to provoke that honor, they'll take it. And we're seeing it right now. So if they let you rock, they let you rock. If they take you down, they take you down.
Hey,
You know?
Wacky said, what up, sheet? We here. Take a look at your email when you have time. I shot
Cool.
you an
Yeah. I'm,
email.
I'm, I'm gonna send you. I'm gonna send you that one. It was a video about a chick that was in this space. She was Indian, and she went down to YouTube with ill intent,
Uh-huh.
and it was based on her sub counts being taken down, and the only thing she did was dance on the video. She was getting like that. That was her source of income. I think she like quit her job, and that was her source of income. Just I guess they call it the ad apocalypse before that, but that was her main source of income was to, just go on there and dance and stuff. And she felt betrayed that it happened like that.
I want to say peace to the God, Kane,
Came in the building.
Kane in the building. Peace. Uh, Also, peace to Wacky. Peace to Wacky.
Perfect timing. I see y'all pulling
Uh-huh.
in.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it comes a point where a lot of guys, like even with O'Shea with the Negro Manosphere, you
Uh-huh.
know, there was a channel before, I mean, a website before that was open up, but it wasn't such on a bigger platform to where nobody came over there. See, the crowd follows the herd. And if more people jumped over there and got on the certain panels, then it'll be all like kind of praised to the point of, everybody, let's go over there together,
Right. Right.
and in
Right.
unison. You
Right.
know, look at the way the movement of the civil rights. You know how hard it was for a lot of those people not to take the transit in Birmingham, and they relied on that transit. They had a black transit company that was there. People could use, but they only had a few buses that couldn't go everywhere. That driver probably spent more money picking up people for those, $1.50 fares back in the day than he
Yes,
really
sir.
made and spent on the diesel. But the whole point of it was they were trying to create a movement to have a better outcome. And see, We talk about this in the space of trying to get a better outcome, but
Yes,
that's
sir.
all. In most cases, we hear. It's just a talk.
I want to say good morning to the insurance junkie, Alonzo Hall, Art New Star in the building, the artist in the space. Good morning, Sun Claw. Uh, what's happening, Pam? Underrated Doctors, the number one grinder in the building. Good morning. What's happening? You guys hit that like button on the way in. Subscribe if you haven't already. Sheeds Mike Matters. Indeed. Oh. But
Yeah.
yeah, Sheed, we definitely recognize many things. Wacky, he said, hey, look, there is Black Junction TV, which it is a platform for Black people. It is an avenue. It is a platform. So I think many people work with YouTube because it is a large platform, right? Uh, it is a large platform, and we try to push that information out in the best way we can. Not that we don't use other platforms, but we try to get on a big platform to move forward with other your information. So, and being that YouTube is connected to Google, which Google is probably uh, the largest search engine. You tend to use those. You get programmed into using these two platforms, right? So, but I'm sure Roger is going to become bigger and better in this game. I want to say good morning to Rael. Good morning, brother. Peace. Rael said, I thought the biggest hater on the Black men was the Black women. Now I realize it's other Black men. This stuff is ridiculous. What happened to Roger's channel? Yeah, he got flagged, or got flagged. I spoke with Roger. I tell you guys, I speak with people outside of these spaces as well as inside these spaces. And hey, look, I'm gonna just tell you guys, Roger is not down in spirits. Y'all ain't did nothing. Whoever's flagging him, or y'all ain't said nothing and did nothing. Y'all ain't stopping nothing. I'm gonna just tell you that. Okay. And Roger and I wasn't speaking about his channels. We was just talking about talking to in each other in general about our lives and all that. You guys ain't stopping nothing. I just want to make sure I express that. Okay. Whoever's flagging and doing all that, you're not stopping nothing. I want to be clear about that. So,
Yeah, because when it comes down to it, it got to be doing something right to get so much hate.
yeah,
Other,
he's speaking to something that is about bettering. They just don't like the way he's delivering his information. They and you're gonna have that. People don't like don't yeah. Sometimes when you serving that castor oil, people be like, I don't want that, and they go to fighting and acting all out and spitting it out and all like that. They refuse to accept the castor oil, right? So, but hey, you know, that's all I'm saying. When you struggle with receiving that castor oil, it's about helping you. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Perfect Good was saying uh, he's out. This is another side. I will speak about it later. He says no teamwork. Perfect says someone else from the table should have 100 on the box. Okay, well,
Yeah. But when it comes down to it, your influence only stretches so far, and you can only influence those who want to learn.
right, right,
That's like one of the biggest things that we have in this space with the young guys. We was talking about an issue with a guy on the panel the other day arguing and going in, and you're to the point where you need to be learning. You're young. Not saying that a young man can't know a majority, but it's always to a point where you should be learning more. And this whole age, a lot of these younger guys are taking on a mentality of not respecting their elders. I mean, not even respecting people that's older than you because you wasn't taught that. Nobody set you down and told you that you're going to be old one day, and it's not the point of you demanding respect. It should be given. I always say that I respect everybody until you prove otherwise. Whether it be old or young. I've cussed out older people before because of their behavior. You know,
I
and when
want
it
to.
come down to it, go ahead.
I want to say. I was just going to say good morning to Third Ward Colombian. Good morning, brother. Good morning.
I'm looking at the chat.
Huh?
I said, now I'm driving, so I'm not
Yeah,
really looking at
yeah.
the chat.
I got you. I got you. Yeah, I got you. I'm your cohort today.
Hey, get it together.
Yeah, I gotta pull it together. Pull it together, she. Yeah, I got you. I got you covered, brother. I got you covered. Um, Perfect says, this is what said about KS. If he go down, we can't go down right. That's applied to everyone. Perfect said, one monkey don't stop the show. Rael says Roger's channel was filled with men who were giving knowledge from their vantage point. It was no Highlander over there. Men from various backgrounds dropping knowledge. Okay. Perfect says,
Yeah.
what now? What now?
Yeah.
And with him gone, the combo has stopped. Well, actually, the combo hasn't actually stopped. Perfect. Okay. Roger is a a part, a component of what we're talking about. What we build on. He is a component. Okay, and sometimes the components tend to move differently, but uh, you make adjustments and you continue on with the mission. Okay, this is what happens. We deal with other. There are people like Sheed, that speak on the subject. The clock still continues to tick. Okay, the conversations don't stop.
Yeah.
All right.
And see, that's the whole point of Roger hashtagging the cool kids tape. When it comes down to it, it's a collective group. You gotta be able to take on all of us.
Right.
The Avengers, baby, we all here.
Right.
When you come on Roger's panel, you're not just coming on Roger's panel to give him the benefit for his show. You giving him the benefit for your show, everyone else's show, and all of our mindsets. You know,
Hold on. She Perfect says, uh, the delay is the problem. Where is the team? She not on the team. Why isn't she on the team? Why why wouldn't she be on the team? What Okay, first we have to be more specific about what team you're talking about. Okay. What is the team? All right. Because uh uh when it comes to these conversations and about the black man and his family, I would humbly say that she is on the team. Okay. She is on that team. Oh, I've yet to hear she not speak about himself and his family. So that would be him on the team. I want to say peace to the God, Ricky Williams, the boxing savant. Also, Sheila E., the Quiet Storm. Mike Shinnery, good morning.
Mike, what's
Welcome,
going on?
Rael. Rael, what's happening, brother?
Peace, fellas.
Peace.
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 You know, men sit at a round table to discuss business, and the things that we bring to the public are things that we hash out in the background a lot. And many of us, numerous times, have been in Roger's back chat discussing how we can advance Black men's interests in the back chat. Me and him were just recently talking in the back chat, probably about a couple of weeks ago, about doing a financial planning stream in terms of estate planning, because there are things that we talk about that probably goes over most people's heads when we're on these channels. Because even though the stream goes on, a long time, it's still limited time. We have a lot of people up there. We can go from person to person, hashing out different topics. So it's kind of hard to really kind of synthesize this type of information, because most Americans are financially illiterate. So we were specifically talking about bringing something like that together. I was talking to Alonzo earlier this morning, and I had talked to him about it as well. Something that we wanted to try to put together with certain types of Black people who are in this particular lane that could actually help Black men specifically turn this corner in terms of financial literacy. Because like I've said numerous times on this channel, it doesn't matter what your cause is going to need money. I mean, that's just the bottom line. The moral argument just ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna need some money to back you. And so, I just find it just very, very coincidental how there's this mentality. Well, let me take this back. I used to know a dude who used to be cool with, and I was so glad that I had this experience with him, because it was a very it was weird. I don't know if anybody up here has actually saw the movie The Talented Mr. Ripley. It's a great movie.
I've seen it.
Matt Damon in it. Jude Law. And one of the worst things that can happen to you in life is to befriend someone who needs you emotionally, but can't stand your fucking guts. That is envious of you and jealous of you, but they need you emotionally. Because what they'll end up doing is they'll use you for your emotional intelligence. And then when they feel like they got out of you what they needed to get out of you, they'll show their true colors. They'll show their true colors. Let me tell a story. This particular dude was one of those pro-black type dudes. Raising the nation, 5%, I mean, all that. He was in all of that type of stuff. But he didn't understand true brotherhood. He was more about ideologies than actually brotherhood. Everybody talks about brotherhood, but brotherhood is not an ideology. Brotherhood, it's something that should be the norm. When we talk about brotherhood, people talk about it as if it's some abstract thing, and it's not. It should be what you should be about as a man, period. This particular dude was constantly getting shitted on by black females. And I was constantly trying to show him, like, hey, man, stop doing this, man. You're going to keep putting yourself out here to get ran over. And I never forget one day when he told me, he said, man, if it wasn't for you, I would have never known how treacherous, man, some black women can be. Now, this is what he said to me. When he was going to certification. He was in his trade program. And what happened was, because I actually let him stay with me, because he was going through stuff with his chick he was dealing with. His mom didn't really want him there with her like that. So I said, hey, man, don't even worry about it. I said, man, you got to pay no bills. Just finish your program. Just don't worry about them. I was like, just, whatever. Don't even worry about it. You know what I'm saying? He ain't pay no bills, no rent, nothing like that. When he linked up with this particular chick and he felt like he didn't need me anymore, the real him came out. The real him came out. And all the jealousy and the envy was shown. I mean, I was completely taken aback, like, what? Because I'm a Scorpio, like, part of my sign is like being very loyal. I'm a very loyal individual. Very loyal. If you fam with me, you fam. I got your back. I'm in the trenches with you. Because I don't consider my friends my friends. The friends that I have, they're family. That's how I view it. So he taught me a valuable lesson. This trying to bond with black people based off of trauma and slavery and lynchings and all that, man, this shit don't work. Brotherhood is beyond that. You know what true brotherhood was for Booker T. Washington? Was when them white folks asked him to dance the jig to get that money for the school, he danced. Think he didn't feel embarrassed to do this shit? But he was doing it for a greater cause. And what was his primary cause that he wanted to build Tuskegee? He wanted to build Tuskegee for black men. So black men can learn trades, so they can come back and use those trades to work with white people, get money, and build up black people economically. He specifically told black people to stay away from the politics right now and let's focus on the economics first. Because he felt that we weren't ready for that. He said, but focus on having a skill that white people need that they'll pay you for. You build up your group and you become more independent. Now, I ain't gonna sugarcoat shit. because we in a space of men. This shit that fucking Herb pulled, man, is some fucking hoe shit, man.
Hold on, Raw.
When you come
What are you talking
spaces,
about?
when you come in these spaces and say, and you've been coming to Roger's channel. You've been coming to this dude's channel for all these months and literally saying that this space has been therapy for you, and you have had Officer Faulkner, BGS, myself, Roger, whole host of other men on panels trying to help you, counsel you through the things that you're going through, and having men give you their shoulder to lean on. And because you have one issue or disagreement or however many issues you have with men, with whoever you had an issue with, and you say that this space has not helped you, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, I remember
that particular type of
that was a recent broadcast, yeah, on Roger's channel. Yeah.
When you come with that type of disrespect, and not just disrespect, disregard, because black females do stuff like that. We have all dealt with a black female who you have done a lot for, and when you decide not to do one thing, she'll act like you ain't never did shit for her in your life, and you've been laid out the red carpet for this motherfucker.
Well, let me ask you, Raw. I've been many times along with you and she over in on Roger's broadcast. Let me ask you though. Yes, I've seen Herb go through these things and experience, and he's received a lot of conversation about things that he's experienced, right? Do you think that at some point he said to himself, well, that was a part of it, but it was really me that really brought myself through it? Do you think he's more so not necessarily demeaning what work you guys or whoever is put into him, but he's more so placing the work on himself and acknowledging that more so than what conversations that have been taking place in regards to helping him move forward?
One of the things that we and she can attest to this. One of the things that we encouraged him to do was to go get some counseling. Yes, specifically sir. Because we knew that the things that were obviously plaguing him was something that we couldn't speak to specifically or fully, I mean, I've put forth a lot of information. I've read from a lot of different sources. But ultimately a person is going to have to do the work themselves. I can't do the work for you. So we have consistently in that space said, go get some help. To my knowledge, he has never said on any spaces since that topic has been broached that he has done that. I've asked that question. He's never answered it. But even if he has done so, he got the encouragement from Roger's space, from the men in that space.
Uh-huh.
And see, what I don't like is when dudes try to, when they feel like they don't need the brotherhood anymore. And then be on some like, oh, I don't need y'all niggas no more type shit.
But do you believe he was more so experiencing some emotional type challenges when it came to a certain subject that you guys was building on? Because when he went to go and saying that, it was because part of it was because he the way you guys was going at the man, and we know the man is part is his team. So could it be that he was experiencing some emotional type connection? He had to, say, hey, you guys are going at my man. Now I'm feeling some type of way. Do you believe it started from there?
First of all, I think a few other men, and I have said this to some of my own friends who I have seen in similar situations, who have these misguided notions in their brain that they're going to resolve a problem that they have, something that I've been speaking on from a lot of the sources that I have been used, who, oh, by the way, I have been therapists who have these mother complex issues. Let's just put it on the table. Who think that they're gonna be a sacrificial lamb for this idea of a family that don't exist. I had a homeboy years ago who was constantly being emotionally abused by his wife. And I said to him, I said, do you think that you're helping your son by trying to keep this quote unquote family together that you think you're keeping together, by showing him that it's okay for his mother to emotionally abuse his father? I said, do you think that's going to be helpful to him? And he got quiet, and he didn't even think about it. And then when he reflected on it, he said, no, that's not being helpful. Well, now, mind you, this is the same friend. I've known this dude since high school. The same dude who, when he was trying to prove that point, and I said some things to him that he didn't want to hear. Didn't mean it wasn't the truth. He just didn't want to hear it. You know what happened a year after 2 years of not talking to me? When we started talking again, the same dude in confidence came to me crying about how his wife was treating him. Mm-hmm. How his own wife didn't want to give him $400 to get his car fixed, even though he was going to work, doing everything he was supposed to be doing. And she wouldn't even give him $400 to fix the car. So out of spite for her, he just went and got a brand new one. But before he did that, I gave him the money. The same dude, he disregarded it and said, oh, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear what you got to say. So I ain't gonna holler at you for 2 years.
So let me ask you.
And guess who was the brother to him when he needed him? Even though he disregarded and disrespected me, I gave him the money. I was a brother.
Let me ask you something.
My brotherhood wasn't based off of what I liked what he did. My brotherhood was based off of what he needed as a brother.
Let me ask you something. I want to say peace to Rogish, the build monger. Peace, brother. He's in the building. Ricky Williams has said, forgive him and move on, fam. A man is going to be what he's going to be. Do you hold that sentiment?
Who, me?
Yes, sir. Are you able to hold that sentiment?
I'm here to make a point. This is not a space about forgiveness. This is not about Oprah Winfrey tactics.
Yes, sir. I understand, but
this is about men having to understand truly what the code is. And the reason why I'm saying this is specifically, if dudes like that in war tell your enemy your secret locations,
okay,
you can't trust them. That's my point.
Okay,
brotherhood is about having a sense of trust.
Okay, but what I'm asking you,
if you do not have that, you don't have brotherhood. You know.
But what I'm asking you is, we as men, we infight, we roughhouse, we play chess, we go through these things. We get highly pissed off at each other to the point where we don't speak. I'm just asking to Ricky Williams' point. Do you agree with his sentiment?
No, I don't.
Forgive him and move on. Okay,
I do
that's
no.
Okay. That's what you hang on to, and then I can't be mad at you for that.
It's betrayal. it's treason. That's why. No,
Okay.
no, because the space is not just about him.
Okay.
We have a lot of younger men, especially. We have the ears and the hearts of a lot of younger men who expect us to stand on principle. If they can't look at the older generation of men and see them stand on principle, nothing we say is viable to them. Nothing. My whole life has been about a code. My whole life. When my dad,
Ricky.
when my father was going through his substance abuse issues, and
Yes, sir.
they motherfuckers wanted to have me go stay with my mom, I specifically chose to stay in foster care so I could be close to my father. When I could have been in an easier situation as a kid because of my code that I had at 9 years old. When I could have been like, man, I'm up out of here, man. I ain't dealing with this type of stuff. I'm going to stay with my mom. Nope. Because I felt that if I wasn't close to my father, if he didn't have me close, I didn't think he was going to make it. I chose to make that sacrifice.
Ricky Williams says, every male is not a man. It's really on you for extending resources to a male who didn't act likewise. Wacky says, the thing is that a lot of these content creators in this space are not about a code. They pretend to have one. What is your view, Ra?
I agree with that. I agree with that.
That's one of the main issues that I talk about when I start talking about a lot of guys in the space and out of the space and how they represent themselves. The issue at hand is I don't want to belittle them by calling them a boy, because I had that conversation with the man one time and I explained to him, I said, I can walk like a man, talk like a man all day. I can, put on baggy clothes or put on a suit, dress up in a tie, everything, but that doesn't make me be a man. I'm only, looking at the imaging of how a man should be and how a man should carry themselves. The whole stereotype back in the day to where men hold their balls and, sag and then walk side to side. That was the image of the black man, and how cool was when you're walking side to side. That was the image of being cool. But now it's like when you start to define like what is a man, like how many people can actually say I'm a man because I do this, on the premise of I'm a man because this is what society said a man is. That's why I go back to the female when we have those discussions. Every man has their preference, but society gives them that, lip of this what you should be looking for in a female. And when it goes back to us, that's why we deal with this in struggle, and I'm with Rael with that, no matter how good, like I explained one time with my friend. I said my friend went to the club one time, he smacked the girl on the butt. I wasn't there. I told him, I said, if I was there and that dude turned around with his girl, I would have let that dude get about a couple off on you before I broke it up. Even if you was getting the best of him, I would still break it up, but I would let him get a couple off on you because that's wrong. Right is right, wrong is wrong. I'm not gonna hinder bad behavior.
What happened, Sheet? You there, Sheet?
Yeah, my bad. I was trying to get away from
Okay.
all this noise. But my
She,
thing,
she. Let me tell you, brother.
yeah.
We're gonna have to work on your man stuff, because you and these phones, man. You forever Borging. You. I'm gonna have to give you some grief, Sheet. I'm gonna call you later and tell you, hey, man. Go ahead.
Hey man, the message got to get out. That's how I look at it.
We got
Hey, even if my phone go down and the
yeah.
broadcast is still going,
Yes,
the
sir.
message got to
Yes,
get
sir.
out, man.
You
You
gotta.
know,
The show must go on. Yes, sir.
show must go on, and that's the key, man. Like I keep saying, so many men come into this space nowadays and trying to reinvent the wheel. Like this is such a new thing that they're bringing to the space. We see guys do this all the time. When I first came into the space, you know, it wasn't like I was trying to make a difference, but I wanted to, give my input. That's why I started my channel, you know. And my
Yes, sir.
first channel was basically, like I said, based on family, just trucking and, getting your money together and stuff. And then I started developing saying, man, it's a lot of guys don't even know what it is to be a man. I mean, how you want to get married and you don't even know yourself? That's why I always talk about knowledge of self. If you don't know who you are, how can you have someone follow you? I always use the term of going into a burning building. You grab a woman by the hand and walk into the building with her. Come on. Like you have no direction, but you steady trying to come into a situation trying to direct somebody else because why? We beat our chest and say, we're men. You should listen to me no matter what. I'm like, no. Like, understand what you want out of life and what you want to do. And then you start carrying that out. You know, the whole thing is I'm a man, just like little kids. I'm a man, I get big and you start testing your parents and stuff like that. Your parents let you know if you're an adult or not. I done had partners tell me all kind of stuff where parents kicked them out the house. You know, parents don't whooped on them, beat up on them because that's the point. You want to prove what you are not, and because society told you at this age you're grown. At this time frame, you should have a mind frame like this. If you think like this, then you should be ahead of the curve. Go ahead.
Okay. There's a John Jones. He says, if you guys were men in my community, y'all would be the type of guys that would be what I call old head. Hey, am I old head? She. I mean, oh
You
no.
ain't you ain't no young head.
Ra, are you an old head or which one are you, brother? Which one?
Yeah, I've already accepted it, bro.
Yeah. I guess I'm an old head then. I'm an old head. That terminology was used, some time ago. Old head. Old head. I mean, occasionally here and there, people still use that term. But okay, I guess we old heads on the panel.
And that's
We have some level of wisdom going on here, I guess, right?
yeah, that's where it comes from. The level of wisdom. I always hear a lot of younger people, well, not even just young, but mid, and I always complain about people calling them old. My uncle was probably 54, and the guy was calling him pops and unc, and he was like, "I ain't old." He was like, "Yeah, man, I ain't old." And the guy was like, "Yes, you is." No, no, I'm not, man. Because he dressed young and he try to hang around, got a little earring in, he
Uh-huh.
wearing his
Uh-huh.
little shades and stuff.
Yes, sir.
Nah, man, you old.
But John Jones says, from the point of view from a dude that's 20s, 20 years younger, that's y'all. if I was 10 years, if I was 10 years, y'all would be 30. And he said, I'm 28. I'm someone old head too. Roger says, out here in Dallas, they call you old school. Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's different terminologies used to refer to cats with a little more knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and experience that go
It's
along
another
with
way of
that.
saying the elder.
Yeah, well,
Another way of saying the elder.
yeah,
That's all it is. I mean,
yeah, older cat. Yeah,
that's
older
what
cat.
he's saying. What I was saying earlier. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
there are younger dudes listening to what we're saying.
Uh-huh.
You know,
Yes, sir.
and so that's what an elder is supposed to be able to do. Tariq Nasheed, salute to him for saying this. He said there's a difference between the elder and the old nigger.
Uh-huh.
He said the old nigger is somebody who goes from, to paraphrase, organization to organization, not really learning anything, and can't give you any kind of roadmap, any kind of skeletal of how to actually live this life. Whereas an elder, they've seen life enough from a certain vantage point where they can give you some kind of direction. Like if I walked up the street and I went around a certain corner and I stubbed my toe, and then I came back, and somebody else said they was going to leave the house and going in the same direction, I will tell them, hey, watch out for that rock around on 82nd Street. That's giving you, that caused me some pain, but let me give you a roadmap so you can avoid this particular part. Because you don't have to go through that part. I already been through that part, so you don't have to do it. When people are trying to sell you to do the same type of thing that they did and they have no success, no results from it, those people are not your community. Those people are not your family and stuff like that. They're telling you to do the same thing that brought about a loss upon them. Like that's not going to help them. I mean, that's not going to help you. And so, because we're in a certain type of situation, like you're not part of being a man and a leader is actually being the one that can make the tough decisions. That's what leadership is all about. Leadership is not about doing things when it's convenient. If you the president and somebody hijacks a plane and want to use it as a weapon, you might have to make the call to the Pentagon and say you got to take it out. Yes, you're going to take some people out, but you're going to do it to save a whole bunch of people in a building or on the ground, to save more lives. That's a tough decision, but that's required of leadership. And if you're not prepared, if you can't stomach that, then you're not prepared to be a leader. And so what we're talking about in these spaces is showing men like you can't feel your way through this all the time. You're going to have to make some tough decisions. You might have to give up something you love to get your sense of self-respect. My homeboy tried all that type of stuff for all those years. He's married to a different woman, tried the same thing, and still it ain't working. He's been trying this stuff for over 20 years because he refuses to make tough decisions. He refuses to do it. And he has been getting the same result, the same lack of respect from women throughout the years. And so this is not about feelings. Leadership is what it is. You have to have a certain mindset to be able to do it. A lot of us, man, we've had some feelings that we didn't like to have, but hey, it is what it is. But we had to work through it too. You got to work through it. And to see, because me, I'm not really feeling the mindset of people just saying like, oh, the show goes on. Yeah, we know the show goes on, but I seen a good brother channel get knocked down. I'm not cool with that shit. I'm just not. I'm not cool with it just being, well, this is just how they do black man. Man, forget all that shit. Because then when we the same people that say, okay, well, we gonna make our own space over here just for us and exclude you, it'd be the same people that be like, man, why y'all trying to leave black people behind? Why y'all ain't trying to help black people? Well, where are all these people at now? That's all about helping black people. Do they go to white people's channels and do this type of stuff? Do they have petitions going out here trying to shut down ghetto gangers? Clearly sexually degrading black women every day, all day in their hoods. White boys coming through their hoods. They ain't coming with no choppers. They coming with a camera. And can get your queen to do all types of sexually degrading types of things. Where y'all at? Where y'all team at? Where y'all new Black Panther Party? Something to defend your queens at nowhere to be found. But you can read the rules of YouTube to the point that you will create a fake channel, do some fake crap, then go to the very white man that you've been complaining about and say, man, he broke the rules when you know you cheated. And that's why I don't feel for these black people like that, because if these niggas can read the rules of YouTube and figure out how to knock a channel down, they can read a book on investment too. They can read a real estate book. See, but they don't want to do that because that actually takes work. That actually takes organization. That actually takes coming together on a common cause. And something like estate planning, for example, is a common cause, because you're talking about doing something that's connected to your lineage. You don't plan your estate just for you. You plan your estate for the future of your family and your lineage. And they don't want to do that. And they're keeping people from getting that type of information. We have somebody like Alonzo that's who I met through Robert's channel. You know what I'm saying? That's a black man I can do business with. You know what I'm saying? You know, and so they don't even, because they're not trying to be productive. They have already decided to give up on life. When you got grown people in their 40s, damn their 50s doing this, these are people who have decided to give up on life. So now their whole MO at this point in their life is to keep as many black people or knock down as many black people as they can, because they chose to be a failure. And the trauma bonding stuff, it needs to be cut. Feeling sorry for these fools, when at the end of the day, these are the same type of fools that be trying to set black men up to get false charges against them just because they don't like what they say on YouTube. Think they're gonna ever do a white man like that? No, because they're too goddamn scared and cowardly. They gonna come at a white man like that, but they'll come at black men like that with a small channel. It ain't like Roger had like 1 million damn subscribers. They come at a small channel, but that just lets me know that his small channel was a powerful channel. And I told him that. I said, I told him that it's not about your subscriber list. I said, it's about the caliber of men that's coming through your channel. That's what's important. It's the caliber of the men, not the numbers. It's the caliber.
Well, what I would say to all that is, I would just pose a question. Well, what are we really dealing with, men or males? You see, because when you're dealing with men, then there's an understanding that comes with men dealing with men. I've said consistently that men build men. Now, when men are building men, and you have males that desire to be men but fail to make it, well, then they start doing male stuff, like flagging the channel, hating on what you're talking about. They don't want to take that. They don't want to take that castor oil. You know, they want the fruity flavor, nice tasting medicine, you know, that has no effect. That's what they want. And that's what we've been running into.
And the crazy part about what Raya just said, I mean, even with the point of the man coming over there talking about the way his little talk about everybody not working at 11 o'clock, I'm like, you essentially is coming on there yourself. So what are you saying? You're not working either? I'm like, come on, man. You sometimes people just put their own foot in their mouth. That's why I said I can't take him serious. Anything that like he had some type of thing, I wasn't even entertaining it. I know he got a channel. I didn't even sub to it. And then I might even just go over there, you know, and to the point, I don't even know if I want to sub to it. Because like I said, he comes, I know the knowledge is there, but it's hard for me to trust someone who comes off the way he does. And I've talked to him several times, and I've seen the dynamic on which certain things that he do. But it's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. Like, I can't take nobody serious that, you know, that comes off like that. And you know, like I said, he was telling me about some business stuff, and I told him I have to second guess everybody who he sends to me, everybody who he wants me to talk to, because I'm like, dude, the way you represent yourself, I'm assuming that person is gonna come off like that. That's a reflection of you. If I hang out with drug dealers, not necessarily I'm a drug dealer, but somebody's gonna have to question my behavior about hanging out with a drug dealer. You know, hey man, this guy knew him from school, pretty good cat, just had a rough life, and you know, this what he does, and I don't take it back. Cool, but I'm still gonna have to question what you do. And see, a lot of people don't want to hold their feet to the fire when it's stuff reflecting on them. It's not me, it's them. That's what they do. Guilty by association. We go through this all the time in this community. Guilty by association.
Hey, I would say Bruce Almighty. He say, back from the Zoom meeting. Go, Professor. You may hear this a lot, but you sound like you could be BGS younger brother or son. Oh, okay. Yeah. Um, Nameless. Welcome, Nameless. Name the nameless protagonist in the building. He says, I said it before, without trust, all conflict that arises from that context will be destructive and not constructive. Yeah. There you go.
You know, a lot of people have a problem with Tommy, but most of the time his channel has been knocked down has been by black men. It's been black men doing it to him. The biggest people in his audience is women.
Yep.
And so I've said this before. People love to talk about like, well, man, you know, Tommy, he don't want to work. He don't work well with others. No. Because a lot of people ain't been around long enough. Back in 2012, there was a thing that Tommy, Tahuti, Tariq, and a whole bunch of other dudes was supposed to do. And it was called I think it was called the Fatherhood Conference. He was willing to work with people back then. And guess what? Tariq started beefing with him, some stuff, I don't know what happened, and it just went sideways, and it never happened. This was back in 2012. And from that point on, it was he beefing, and then he showed up to his black interview. Black men don't do that shit to other men. They do it to other black men. They do it to other black men. You know what I'm saying? And then when Tommy don't want to work with people, then people want to be like, oh, see, Tommy don't want to help nobody. Y'all ain't seeing all the shit that Tommy's gone through, man, with black males. Forget the women. He's got hit by black men multiple times. And yeah, he might come out here and spaz out sometimes, and he might go overboard on certain things, but he has a real experience trying to work with black men. He's been backstabbed. Because it makes no sense for you to sit here as a man to claim to be pro black, and you have no problem with the myriad of channels that have females saying, if you pregnant with a black son, black women, you need to abort that kid, specifically because he's a black boy. You have nothing to say about that. You have nothing to say about that whatsoever. But you have a problem with the channels of men who actually hold women like that accountable for saying things like that. But see, that doesn't support their narrative of them being queens and goddesses of the earth and all that other goofy ass nonsense. Because you're going to have to speak to that. Because when men bring that to your attention as a reason why they're not going to protect them, what's going to be your answer? You can't tell grown men to protect women who are saying that their sons should be aborted. You can't do it. They don't have an answer for that. And so this is the reason why they just constantly circle back to black men, because black men is the gift that just keeps on giving in terms of punishing. It can always go to that particular talking point. So when Earth Dude came on Roger's show, and this just goes to show you, man, no good deed goes unpunished. When he came on the show, he came in with that energy that you niggas ain't shit. You niggas ain't shit. Not understanding at all the type of stuff that we actually talk about on the show, and even more so in the back chat. He came in the space thinking that we were some bumbling idiots that were just over here just complaining about black women, this and that, and the fourth, and blase, blase, this. automatically. Then when Roger asked him, what's your definition of a good man? Not just a black man. He said, because black men are the only men that have to have that qualifier. Well, what's the definition? He said, no other men have to actually be asked that question about what's a good white man, what's a good Korean man, but only black men. Then conveniently, his phone loses service. Then he comes back on, he gives him another chance. On a day that he was sick, he wasn't even feeling it good. Give him another chance, he still BS's. So then he comes back. He makes a show, which was him trying to extend an olive branch to the same dude who came in his house, disrespecting his house and his house guests, coming with the same BS. Not because anybody offended him. Nobody had said anything to him. We didn't know him. He came into space off the rip with the y'all niggas ain't shit. Who's any millionaires over here? Why y'all over here talking this early in the morning? Y'all should be making money, this and that and the fourth. Not realizing that Roger, when he's doing his show, is actually working in the background. That's why he mutes up a lot. He already came with that kind of energy and smoke. And this is the reason why I put this on Earth, because this is your man. This is your dude. This is your dude that you invited. And that's why I asked him, why did you come over here? Well, I came over here to contribute. You don't come over here talking about trying to sell your real estate classes, insulting the very demographic you want to pay for the classes. That's not how business works. You know, it's not even close to working like that. But he tried to extend an olive branch and he still didn't get it. So now, as a man I'm always saying that we need to view the space as sacred, because if you view the space as sacred, there's certain people you ain't gonna let in it. I've been saying that for years. And that was even in reference to some of the big content creators. You have to view it as sacred. He didn't want to have that conversation because he already came in with that black female energy of gaslighting you by saying to you that your very existence as a black man is meaningless. I don't even have to know what your background is. Just the fact that you're a black man, I can come in here and just give you nothing but disrespect and expect you to take it too. Well, I grew up with a father. And that was the only man on this planet whose respect I felt I needed to have. And guess what? I had my father's respect. I was with a chick years ago who I went to go see my dad and my sisters one time. And when we left, she said, man, your dad is proud of you. And I said, what are you talking about? She said, man, I could just tell him. I could just tell the way your father looks at you. I hadn't even noticed it. She said, man, you could just see it in his eyes. So I'd be damned if a nigga come into space and think because, oh, I'm a black man and you grew up in a family where women told y'all niggas wasn't shit like your dad and stuff like that. I didn't grow up around that. When my father asked me when I was a boy, what do you want to be when you grow up, son? I said, either the next Michael Jordan or the president. My dad didn't say, well, son, you know, you black in America and they ain't gonna let no black man be the president. He said, son, you can be whatever you want to be. Even at some of his lowest points, my father gave me confidence. So I refuse to let dudes like that come in spaces like that with impressionable-minded men, but especially young men who are trying to figure out what's going on because they've been gaslighted to the point that the third leading cause of death for black males ages 15 to 24 is suicide. Why are they giving up on life and they just getting started? Because they've been hearing from motherfuckers around them their whole life. You ain't shit like your dad. when you don't even know your dad's story. You don't know what kind of woman your mom was to your dad. And if she telling you ain't shit, and you came out her womb, what you think she was telling your father? And when a man gets up on a damn channel and say his dad is a sucker for loving him and his sister, I have no qualms in believing that this dude will not betray us when he's betrayed his own father in front of our eyes.
I want to say
he don't owe me anything, but he goddamn owe his father, military man, took care of you. He ain't have to be a perfect father to be a good damn father. And when you disrespect your father like that, you disrespect him like that, military man put his life on the line for this country, and he's a sucker for loving you and your sister and putting up with the shit he had to from your mom, you gonna come into a room full of men and say that? And men still gave you room to breathe, to try to figure it out? When the reality is, you should have been excommunicated. Because what did he show in the end? He showed in the end he had no loyalty for the space based on who he is and the type of nigga he brought to the space, who came in with that same bullshit female energy. Oh, y'all niggas ain't did nothing for me. Really? The same men that let you cry on panels and didn't make fun of you, did not criticize you. Even when there were people in the chat, man, clowning you, people defending you, like, nah, lay off on them, be easy on them.
Let me read what Nameless had wrote. Nameless said, saying respect is feeling based and ascribing to a negative value, as if men don't use respect as a baseline for organizing themselves and getting business done is a sign of dysfunction. So, once again, when we see when we see people come into these spaces, they come in with the front picture, and then there's the back picture. There's the front story, then there's the back story. Okay. Now, when they come in with the front story, we see that. Then as the story goes on, we start seeing the back story. Right? And then we can see what's really going on. Hence, the true self comes out. And that's when the real questions can be laid down to see where a person is really coming from. And this is where we find ourselves. Prince Jaido, good morning. He says, sad, sad, sad. We have seen the enemy, and the enemy is one of us at Rael. Rael, they hitting you up in the chat quite a bit, brother. Got a lot to read, a lot of response, brother. Bruce Almighty says, even came to his panel after Senji drilled him and gave him advice on how to handle situations like that moving forward. So, hey, these are the things that come along with dealing with what we deal with in this space. In this space, it is a small space, and when you have this small space that has this much refined character in it, this caliber of person in it, of men in it, you're going to experience these type of conversations that come through. People with these kind of conversations that come in and they want to be part of. They want to lay out the front story, but don't really recognize that we're going to get to that backstory. We are going to get to that backstory.
Actually, and I said this a long time. I probably said this about 20 years ago. Most of the time when people ask you for advice, they've already decided what they want to do. they're just hoping that you co-sign it. So when it does go wrong, because I've never been the type of person to ask people for advice like that. I just haven't. Specifically because it's my choice. I got to live with the decision. So if I got to live with the decision, I'm going to do what I want to do. And if it's good, it's good. It's bad, it's bad. I got to live with it. I'm an adult. But a lot of times people ask for advice because they've already decided what they're going to do. They just want to have somebody to blame for it when it goes bad. Well, you told me I should do such and such and such. Like, nah, you're an adult. That's your decision to make. What I do with people, I say, if I was in that position, this is what I would do, and I would give them scenarios to make their own choice. That's how I put it. You know, people. I've seen men come in these spaces, man. They really do want to be told they ain't shit like how they've been told their whole lives. Like any man that go to somebody like Sanjeev Khan, like you clearly want to hear that. You clearly want that emotional abuse that you're used to getting. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with that. But see, what you're not going to do is you're not going to talk all this over here. And then secretly you running over there looking for the emotional abuse because that's the template that's been guiding your life. You live.
Hey, one moment, Rael. I got to push out. I want to say peace to everybody in the chat. Peace to everybody on the panel. You guys keep doing your thing, you know. So I appreciate you guys laying out your conversation and building. So, all right, you guys be easy, man.
All right, go peace.
You know, man, I have seen dudes, man, say over here that they had contemplated committing suicide and have used information in the ministry to get their lives together. To me, that means something. That means this is really a space where men can really learn some good information. Because everything else has failed. Everything else has failed. The church has failed. The pro-black has failed. Everything. And the reason why I think it has failed, because in a lot of these, in both of these spaces, the man is not considered the head. In this space, men are saying, no, we're the head, and either you're going to get on the program or not. And it makes no sense for people. If you don't want to be the head as a man, if you don't want to be that type of man, then cool, that's fine. Well, this ain't a space for you. And that's why I said, you know, on Russ' channel, I'm like, if you've been over here all these months and you haven't gotten any information that has helped you, don't be like a female and say something that you don't like, that you feel that didn't help you. Okay, that didn't help you. What about all this other stuff that you've been given? Even BGS said it, like, man, y'all dudes is getting information, man. People charge $1,500 for or more. You're getting it for free. And you're gonna sit up here and disrespect it because somebody told you to take a approach when they were telling you to take the approach to get your sense of manhood back. What's the point of having a son up under you if you can't project to him as a man? How are you helping him? That's not help. That's hiding behind the child because you ain't ready to be a man. In the scripture, God gave his only son to put forth his order. He sacrificed. So this nonsense about you know, person ain't getting no help. So why you come to a place that you ain't getting no help? You know different than the females who come to a space of men complaining they don't like what's being talked about. Okay. But nobody would have known who you are. Nobody would have known about any channel you got because you ain't talking about shit. Nobody would have known who he was if it wasn't for Roger having him on his panel. And a lot of that shit was men trying to help him. But then you start some goofy ass channel, then you're like, oh, ain't nobody over there helping me. What? Nobody would even know your name if it wasn't for being featured. You know what I'm saying? On Roger's channel. Like this is the thanks you give. Like this is how hoes operate. This is how using hoes operate. And y'all seeing this in a male form. This is how hoes do. Do everything for them. Then when they feel like they got enough out of you, they act like you never did anything for them and skip on to the next dude to do the same thing. And then when she meets you, she gonna tell you, man, that dude never did nothing for her. And she could have depleted that dude's bank account. That's the same kind of energy that dude is moving with.
Yep. That's the same thing we was talking about on Gold Professor channel yesterday when we was talking about women when they always come with the same narrative when they get ready to start going after men and explaining why they left their man because it was because of the I just said abuse, but I told them the abuse was like the Visa card. Most women have that Visa card in their wallet to where they pull it out. And every man who has some type of heart for a woman is going to respect it. She used that card and it's to her benefit, even if he didn't do nothing, and I ain't gonna need to talk about that, but yeah, like when we start accusing each other without no justification, I mean, hearsay to me, facts are the facts, and we have issues already in our community, as men of always getting dealt the bad hand. Why we got to take it out on each other without even knowing all the the information first, and it kills me. Like with Roger and his channel, man, I tell guys, I've told guys that I go on Roger channel, man, to give dudes some type of visual, because in most cases it's a lost cause on marriage right now as it stands. Every time you turn around, man after man get dealt the bad hand. I mean, like I say, I've been in my marriage for 15 years, not saying that I'm the longest. And like I always tell people, I could get a divorce tomorrow. It don't matter. I'm still gonna continue living my life. My marriage don't define me. That's why I told you when that guy was saying that stuff on that panel that day, that's what made me jump on there. Because my marriage don't define me. My wife, my kids, none of that stuff defines me. Me as a man, I define myself first. Everything else comes on as a plus. That's why I was explaining to them guys about being married, about the prenup. That shouldn't be the first thing you think about because you have money. That's a given when you get married because you have money. If you love me, we rolling to the end. Sign this. If you don't, it's over. I could have easily walked away from my wife just the same way I married her. People say, well, that's kind of cold-hearted. Then you love her? Yeah, I love her. But going back to what Gold P always say about applying selfishness, man, is she going to be thinking about you when she's in her situation? No. She's going to be doing her own thing. And see, a lot of guys don't understand it. You put so much into a woman, that's where you get the ringer. Right there. I tell guys that all the time. When it come down to it, you put so much into that woman, you don't even define yourself. You don't even know who you are, what you're representing, because you living your life through her eyes. And that's why I be trying to get guys, I keep going back to it, that knowledge of self, man. Don't get caught up. Like I told BGS when he came on my channel Sunday, he was like, so what's the deal? You trying to tell guys to get married? No, I'm just telling them you need to weigh your options. Look at marriage in a way to where when you're getting married, make sure you don't get taken to the ringer. Make sure you don't get taken to the clingers and she take all your stuff. Because at the end of the day, if it's a question to do I really need to marry this chick, the answer is automatically no for me. Like I said, I dealt with several chicks and they had little issues, and I would talk to them about it. And the way that they carry themselves or try to address them, that pretty much let me know I didn't need to be with them. Even, it's the funny part. And my friends, man, one of my friends, he said it. He was like, I'm an asshole. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, the thing of it is, if I see an issue with somebody, man, I'm gonna bring it to the light. Whether you like it or not, so be it. If you choose not to be my friend after this situation that I bring to I'm suggesting something to you. If you don't like it, cool. We don't have to be friends no more. Just like that situation what you was talking about with that guy, he didn't talk to you for 2 years. Hey, it is what it is to me because I'm gonna still continue living life. You know, if you like, I was working on a job one day, and a lady had we was doing a job, and the lady had to get a sofa up to the third floor. The sofa wouldn't fit up the elevator. The sofa wouldn't fit through the stairs. She actually wanted us to crane this sofa because it's like a $3,000 custom sofa she built. So she was like, "Well, I was gonna give y'all a tip, but since y'all don't want to take the sofa up, I don't know." The guy told her, he was like, "Well, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it regardless whether the sofa was the issue or not." So he said, "From my understanding, you could just keep your money." And she kind of got a little offended by it, and he was like, "I don't care." He's like, my job is not to please you. My job is to put this stuff in your house. And see, so many people want comfort in their life, they miss out on the real stuff. Because you want that sweetness to somebody talk to you all humble and nah. That's why that's the main reason why I do the Maxwell thing, to mess with guys. I don't have time to be all soft and cuddly with you, man. I'm trying to help you out, prove these points that need to be proven. I'm not here to be your friend. A lot of guys in the space I talk to outside of YouTube, cool, but like I tell them, you know, when it comes down to it, man, I'm not here to make a whole bunch of friends. Either we cool or we not. That's just it. You know, if we cool, I fool with you. If not, oh well. You know, because a lot of people don't understand. You could just cut this thing off and continue living your life. So many people like flagging channels and stuff like, man, I've met so many of the childish people, like even the ways of how they do things on YouTube. I'm like, come on, flag the channel or not, but still, just cut it off. If I don't like the message, I'll unsubscribe or I'll keep sub to you, but I just won't watch a channel. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what is the main issue? Like, the point of you flagging channels or doing what you're doing, you're trying to stop the message. Just let it be known. You know, I just don't get it with a lot of man. That hidden hand, man, crazy.
Yeah, because they for all this talk that they talk about, they don't want to help black people. They want to keep black people in a state of trauma. They looking for the next George Floyd case. You know, they looking for those types of stories so they can constantly flash it on their channel, so they can get some quick little views, get some money, and go back to their nigger ass existence. You know what I'm saying? Where they ain't really doing nothing. And when they see, they see Stephen from the Django movie, man, is a real character. That is real. That is the default setting for Black America. You're gonna constantly have to fight against the tribe. I was just reading something recently where the woman was talking about how when it comes to this collective consciousness thing, that by breaking out basically of Black America, like to have people that Black America talking about doing stuff like life insurance and stuff like that, you're breaking out of the collective consciousness, which is what? Financial illiteracy. So guess what the average Black person is going to say to you when you bring up something like that? They're going to say something that's going to put a certain thing in your mind to make it seem like you can't take advantage of it. You know, us white folks stuff. Oh man, this stuff is boring. Oh man, what are you talking about this stuff? Man, them white folks ain't gonna let you get no money. They're gonna say something that's gonna try to put you in a state where they don't want you to touch it. Not telling you that they might not be in a position to take advantage. It's just like with a female who hates on her so-called friend and say, oh man, that dude ain't hitting on nothing. She don't know anything about the dude. Oh, he ain't hitting on girl. Why you with that girl? Why you with that dude? And she can be specifically trying to put a bug in her mind to get her to break up with the dude just so she can be single just like her. Just like her. It's the same thing. It's projection. They're projecting onto somebody the emotion that they feel within themselves. They're projecting it against somebody like Roger's channel as if he's the source of why they feel like shit. No, you feel like shit because your family ain't shit. You came from some ain't shit people. That's why you're a grown ass person out here going out here flagging people's channels because you're nobody. You're nothing. You have no existence. Be 40, 50 years old, going from channel to channel in a space that you claim is filled with so many bad people. You feel the need to go to channel, try to create false charges against people in a space that you don't like because you're nothing. You're nobody. Nobody would even know about some of these people if it wasn't for the space. This space is actually giving people names that don't have a name. Without this space, would a lot of people know about some of these people? No, you wouldn't. They can't even build their own space with the shit they're talking about. If what they're standing on is so real, why don't they build their own space? They can't build their own space because they're lazy. They don't have any intention on actually putting in any work. They just want to eat off the work other people put in. And if they see people getting too successful, then they want to try to knock them down. But you never see them doing that to any white people. And that lets you know that they really scared of white people. They look at themselves as inferior to white people and subservient, and they will always let them do their thing no matter what. You're a Black man that's calling out this gynocracy, which is going to have to make niggas look at their aunts, their grandmothers, their sisters, their mamas, and niggas don't want to have to do that because it's a whole lot easier to flag a channel than to have to go to your mom who got 8 kids by 8 different dudes and say, Mom, why was you acting like that? Why was you behaving like that? Why did you have all these kids like this and get on welfare? That's a tough ass conversation to have with your mom. It's a tough conversation. And I know this because I got a homeboy who I've known since college. It took him years for him to tell me what kind of mom he had. And one day he finally said to me, he said, man, you know the woman you be talking about, man, that's on using welfare and stuff like that? I said, yeah. He said, man, you talking about my mom when you say that. And he wasn't offended. It was the truth. Because it affected his life. So he knew what I was saying was real. And these same people, their lives were affected by their mom's poor vaginal decisions. But they don't want to hold them accountable because they're too scared, including grown men. Why you got so much puff in your chest for men you don't even know? But you ain't got nothing to say to your mom, though. Like, that don't make any sense. Your mom has had more impact and input in your direction in your life, because family do, than any of us have on your life. At the end of the day, these people, we don't have any input on their life like that. I mean, if they don't listen to what we say, then we don't affect their lives like that. But if you do come to this space and you get good information and you say one thing turns you completely off, I don't even like that. To me personally, I'm not even interested in hearing men say, well, I don't like. To me, that sounds like a female. Let's debate the point. Because when you debate, you don't have to debate shit based on whether you like it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? When a lawyer go into court they don't have to know if their client is guilty or innocent to defend them. They defend them based on what the law says. They have absolutely no feeling towards the person. Denzel was in a movie like that. You know what I'm saying? Where he defended a dude who you know, was LGBT crime. I mean, he didn't like it, but he still defended him based on what his job was. So they can't even, you know, I just, you know, I've seen this story before, and that's the reason why I keep pushing this elite concept, because every black dude can't be on that particular ride because they ain't elite. They're gonna spend the rest of their lives kowtowing and being subservient to women because that's what they were groomed. They were groomed to be subordinate to women and let women run their lives and tell them how to think. And the likelihood of them changing, especially if them niggas is in their 30s and 40s, the likelihood of that shit changing is relatively low. And that's the reason why I stick around here, is because the last thing I want is these old niggas running these young dudes in the ground with the wrong information.
And I say that all the time, man. That the funny part is that's why you got ain't shit men, because they deal with their moms on a whole nother level. And then guess what? You got them growing up, taking care of their kids, doing the same way their mom taught them. Because they never went and seek counsel or guidance from other men. Hey, my mom is the truth. Whatever she said, I listened to her. One thing, it was funny one time I was listening to, what's her name? Love Dorsey. And Love Dorsey, she said something that like hit home when I sent this one dude this video. He didn't like it. He was like, man, like, what you trying to say? I'm like, bro, like, you know, me and this guy co-worker, we talking. I just sent him the video. The feel he got from that video made him go off overboard. She basically said the reason why a lot of these dudes and a lot of these women, the way they are, because they could never tell their mama they was wrong. Your mama ain't shit, daddy ain't shit. It trickles down. And when you get older, you do the same exact thing. Well, my mama, I couldn't never tell my mama nothing, so my kids would never tell me nothing. If you wrong is wrong. Nowadays, these Z's and all these other whatever A alphas coming in, they contesting their parents and stuff. You know, me and my kids, we talk all the time. You know, if he's talking to me about something I did wrong, my son normally he says it politely, you know, with a little respect, because he know my intent. You know, and it's not like all the time I'm a harsh individual. You know, but the point of it is, it's respect there, and the game's not to be played. See, a lot of these men grew up around their moms or grew up around ain't shit dad because they never got that structure on how to be a man. It kills me when I hear a man say, son, you just be a good person in life, and that's all that matters. Everything will work itself out. That's bullshit. Despite all the racism and everything else, as a black man, he got to go through, then turn around and just telling somebody to be positive, and that's the key to life. Man, that's bullshit. Ain't nowhere in the world I put my son out there to the wolves like that. You know, that's what I talk about that with mixed kids. That's why they have that bad concept about, you know, everything will work itself out, because that's how the parents look at it. They don't know how to explain it to them that you're going to get adversity because you have black, have white, and when it come down to it, they're going to look at you black more than white. So you're going to have those friends that snicker, say little stuff. You know, you got to be able to know how to handle this. You gotta be cold-hearted. You got to be able to joan. You got to be able to put your hands up sometimes, because in situations, a lot of kids don't know how to fight. You know, and that comes along the line for the men. You know, when it come down to it, it's just a bad scenario, man. Like I always say, when guys talk about, oh, that's that single mom shit. Nah, that's that ain't shit dad shit too sometimes. Because he never got the keys to teach you how to be a better man. That's why in some cases, man, that's why I be telling guys they got to own up for their mistakes. You know, there's a lot of shit. You know, I told my wife about my oldest son, which is her son. You know, I raised him. You know, I did stuff with him, but I wasn't there a lot because My whole thing was focused on getting money. I made sure the boy was okay, everything was good. You know, I put him in sports and stuff, had a little conversation with him, but we never got it so in depth until he got older. You know, even when he was about 15 or so, I would still take him on little runs with me and do little stuff, show him different things. And when I got my kids, I reflected on I could have did more, you know, because the understanding is I am his father. You know, even though I'm the stepdad, I'm there 24/7. His dad not there. Even if he was in the picture, he come around, he's still at my house sleeping in my house. That's why I tell guys, if you're gonna accept that woman, you gotta accept them kids too. Otherwise, don't even deal with them. You know, a lot of guys they want to come from a premise of, man, she a good chick, she this and that, but just don't deal with them, man. Leave them alone altogether. And you gotta have that level of respect for yourself to where, man, if I'm just gonna fuck, then just fuck. That's it. Keep it a buck. If you there to fuck, just fuck. You ain't gotta do nothing else all off the line. It is what it is. Knock it down and go on about your business. But the point of it is, like I tell dudes, if you're gonna live that life, you can't get mad at the outcome. Browse ain't shit fucking you over. That comes with that life. Like I told dudes, when I got married, I stopped fucking all these hoes, stopped fucking around because what's that gonna produce me? You know, it, old people always say you the company by the crowd you keep.
Right.
And a lot of people don't even know that.
Right.
They just think that, man, I do whatever I want when I want, because why? I'm grown for one, and I'm a man. A man can beat his chest. And no matter how much men we call ourselves, we still have to, like you said earlier, we have to go by a code of conduct. We still have to hold ourselves, our feet to the fire. A lot of guys, you got to check yourself in the mirror, man. That's like the biggest thing with a lot of guys. I keep referring to this. A lot of guys can't look in the mirror at themselves. Man, that shit disgusts them to look at themselves in the mirror and see what they become. You can't. Cause it start it's just like those women. It start bringing out their flaws. You don't want nobody to see your flaws. You know. And I get pissed off with a lot of guys. That's why I told Perfect Timing. I said, man, sometimes I just drop off the panel when I hear people saying crazy shit. And sometimes I just drop off because I'm working and stuff. But other than that, I'm like, man, I don't condone all. Like I get to a point where I get tired of telling certain people because to an issue they never learn. They don't want to learn. Their whole thing is to come over here, either talk shit about women or have an understanding what happened between those women so they can get better. But then for you just to come over here and not grow, the dudes that come in this space should not, within 6 months, you shouldn't be coming back in the same person you came in. That shows no level of growth. That shows you're not learning nothing. All you're doing over here is either creating chaos or trying to do something else. Because otherwise, the whole point of coming over here is to grow. That's what I don't understand. Like, I'm not the same person when I came in. Like I said, I grew up different, man. The way some of these guys come off, man, I tell them, I'm not like y'all, man. I'm sorry. I'm not saying I'm better than people. I grew up in a single parent home. My grandmother, my mom and dad, they were married to the day they died. But the point of it is, my values that I had, I keep telling people, there's two types of black people in this world. Two types, man. And a lot of guys don't understand when I tell them, hey, man, some people ain't a part of the culture. Because in the end, man, it's all about choices. And that be the biggest part where a lot of people don't understand. Just like we give women that choice to get married and hold themselves accountable, same way with guys. And a lot of them not holding themselves accountable because why? Somebody told them they don't have to. Just like the women, They have those little talks where they say that, they don't have to be held accountable for their actions. Guys are the same way, man. That's why I keep saying the whole premise, if we want the community to change, we deal with the men and we leave the women alone. Because in the end, when it comes down to it, the man is going to have to run everything. The man is going to be in position to do all the stuff that's required. So why are we waiting on the women to change? Leave them alone. Hell, like I said, when I went a whole SYSB, I wasn't looking for a Jamaican woman. I was looking for a good woman. That's what I found. My whole premise of getting married to my wife, it wasn't because she was Jamaican. It was because she was foreign and all this. No, I was looking for a good woman. I got tired of that bullshit. I see a lot of guys, you got to understand that. Multiple times you're going to get dealt the bad hand. It's up to you what hand you're going to play.
The problem is that you got to really question a black man who tries to make money denigrating black men. That's somebody who is scared to go into the environment and actually self-actualize. What he's really doing to women is actually showing them that he's a boy. He's a boy. He has a mother complex. So he's going to try to go to his mommy, which should be his woman, and say them men are bad. When the very men that he's saying is bad is the very men he should be actually learning from, so he can actually become a man. See, I've been in boot camp before in the military, and let me tell you something. There was a whole bunch of mama's boys up in there, boy. I'm talking about they couldn't even take it after 3 days, crying for their grandmama and their mamas and shit. When they said get that ass out that bed and you didn't get up off an hour and a half of sleep, and they snatched them niggas' asses up out the bed, they didn't give a damn what color you were. Because they was there to break down whatever weaknesses was in you, to break that shit down and build a new man. And kowtowing and telling women what they want to hear is not going to build a better man in you. It ain't going to happen. Because the women are supposed to follow your program. You don't have to adapt to the woman like that. She has to adapt to your program. And if a woman follows a foolish man and a stupid man, then she's dumb herself. Because she needs a man to actually carry her through. She needs a captain of her ship. Now, I have given, plenty of information on these types of things. I ain't out here making up anything. I don't be out here like, oh man, this is my feelings and stuff. I saw this stuff for years. And when I got into the psychology aspect of things, it started putting everything, the puzzle together fully. I was seeing it. I just didn't have the words to speak to it. My homeboy said to me, he was last year, he was like, man, to be honest, man, he was like, man, you've been talking about this type of stuff, man, since we was in high school. I was breaking it down back then. So, these dudes, they don't want to get off their mama's titty. They actually choose a woman that's going to let them be the little boy that they still are. I don't give a damn if the nigga's 50 years old. That's what they're going to do. And they're going to try to define black manhood as being subservient to a woman, which is going to be against nature. Because when things go wrong, and things will go wrong when a woman is leading, guess who she's going to blame for things going wrong? She ain't going to say, well, I was in control of the situation, so it's on me. That's not what they do. Who they going to blame, she?
They're going to always blame the man.
Blame the man. Because even in her most dysfunctional nature, she still knows you're supposed to lead. Even in her most dysfunctional nature, she still knows you're supposed to lead. That's why they'll say things like, I need a man that's going to check me. Even in their dysfunction, they're still saying you're supposed to leave.
Man, oh, this is so funny. I'm not even gonna bring the topic up, but let's just say this: there's women out here. They'll sit here and lead, but to a certain degree, to where it's leadership where it benefits them. When it's time to discuss the bills, where they can get a little extra money on the side. When it's time to make big decisions about buying cars and buying a house and all that, ultimately. But when it come down to it, those decisions on paying the bills, those decisions on working those extra hours, I said that. I said, man, if my wife want to be the leader, I'll let her be the leader of the house. Go ahead. I relinquish all power. But like I said, when the tires need to be changed, you're doing it. When we need extra money for some work needs to be done to the car or taking out our savings, no, we're not taking out the savings. You're going to go work the extra hours. See, that's why I be telling a lot of men and women, when it come down to it, the leader don't get no day off. The leader on 24 hours surveillance. Leader's on 24 hours, he got to go. He got to make moves, you know. My wife always, she was getting on me before I got this policy for my boys, the 2 policies for my boys. She's like, why you got so much insurance? Like, dang. I said, look, I'm making it to where if anything happens to me, you good. I say the bad part about it is I'm doing this to benefit you. I'm not doing this to benefit myself. I said, hell, it's a plus with the life insurance for me, but it's not for me mainly, it's for you. I said, hell, the only reason I want $1 million policy on me to where if something happens, you don't have to find a man. You know, you don't have to struggle. You know, my wife, she's damn near sort of like an introvert. She likes staying to herself. She like her space and she like her comfort, you know. And when it comes down to it, like that's gonna be hard for you when you got to get back on the saddle, go out here, get married again, because that's typically happens with most of those women. They talk all that crap about these men, how he ain't nothing, he ain't this and that. As soon as that man die, they heartbroken. Now they got to go back out here. I mean, just be outright with it. Go fucking suck dick just to find them another man because they so used to them bills being paid a certain way. Like, how that shit's gonna help? You know, when it come down to it, hell, paying them bills, it come with a cost. And if you ain't got the money, where the money gonna come from? You only can borrow so much money from family. You only gonna have so many family members putting you up or taking care of you for so long. They got their own, you know, and a lot of women don't understand that. You know, society has made it so popular for all the women to be single, get careers, because you're gonna put your career over your kids and your marriage. To the point when you get older, who's gonna be there for you? You know, that's a lot of people. When I was younger, my great grandma told me, she said, all my children gonna do whatever I say when I say, because I raised them right, I took care of them, I did what needed to be done. So now it's their time to take care of me. She was saying it basically from a premise of respect. I sacrificed so much for you to do what you need to do in life. My aunt, hell, she got her degree. She went to technical school, got a business degree, got a stuff in accounting. My oldest uncle and my grandmother, they didn't do too much in school. You know, that was at the time when schools weren't really pushed like that. Then turned around, my youngest uncle, he got his degree too, went to the military, made all kind of money, did all kind of stuff. But the whole point of it was, she told him, you know, I'm helping you out, giving what you need so you can take care of yourself. But also, you know, when I get older, I might need a little hand. You'll be there for me. And there it goes. You have these kids, you know, raise them right. They'll come to the point, it's not just for your aid. You got someone that'll look out for you. Because family sometimes is always reliable when you're going extended. You know, brothers and sisters, you have your outs, but your kids, it's a duty. Just like you were just talking about with your dad, it comes to a duty of being there for your parents to a degree. Even if it was a bumpy ride with your parents, you will still work with them to a certain degree. It's not a lot of parents you agree with them 100 until you get older. You start understanding. I see why this lady was so hard on me. I see why this man did me like this. My cousin, he used to, come pick us up, give us man training. I always talked about, showed us how to use guns, showed us, just, hard work, dedication in life. I didn't like that dude all the way up until I got in high school and I got around my coaches and they were on me just like him. And my coaches would always tell me, you should appreciate this. Me as a man, I'm not coaching you. I'm giving you life lessons. Take heed to what I'm telling you. See, the stuff you're doing in here is one thing in sports. When you go out in the world, you got to take that same mentality. And, a lot of people never experience that, man. That man that'll bond with you and work with you. Like I keep telling people, man, I'm constantly being molded. I'm 38 years old, and when it comes down to it, I'm constantly being molded as a man because steel sharpens steel.
Constantly evolving, right? Constantly evolving.
It,
I mean, if you have the same mentality that you had when you was in high school, something is wrong. And you 35, 40, 45, 50 years old. You got the same, if you got the same mentality you had in high school, I mean, that's pathetic, to be honestly. I mean, you're going to have a certain part of your personality that's going to be core central to you, but your knowledge base, man, as a man is supposed to evolve. Like, like that's what it's there for. Like it's for us, the knowledge that we have on this planet, what I'm saying, from the science to the technology has been primarily came through the consciousness of man and men figuring things out and tinkering and tearing stuff apart and putting things together. Like that's just the basis of manhood, exploration, those types of things, putting that fear to the side and explore and going into that cave and seeing what's over there and seeing what's on another planet and going in spaceships. And if you ain't with that kind of mentality, man, you can't even call yourself a man. Like you're not even living what your nature dictates to you and requires. And this is how you know that many of these dudes are bitching their heart because they come to just pick fights. They want to pick fights with men that don't even know them like that. You know what I'm saying? But that's because black men in the spaces that we're in, we're challenging them. We're challenging them. And so, and we're not challenging them on some like we're trying to denigrate them. We're saying like, dude, step up to the plate. Like there are plenty of people out here. I mean, you talked about how your parents died, early and stuff like that. They be making it seem like we ain't got no story ourselves. Like we ain't went through no shit. Like we just had a silver spoon in our mouth and we just had it great our whole lives. Like, nah, not even close. But it's primarily those experiences that either make you or break you, depending upon how you respond to the challenge. And these are people who don't respond to the challenge well. So they have to pick fights with people and, harass people all the time. And then we'll get on a channel talking about how pro-black they are. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't understand, man. When it come down to it, that's why I keep telling these guys. I mean, even with Roger and his platform, man, how many guys besides, I would say a few, like BGS, you have Art and them, they do their panels. It's a few guys that actually come on, have people come on their panels, and even to the extent of how big Roger has gotten, to the point where you have trolls coming to the account. I had a bad troll come on my account one time, man. I think I had like 6 of them, man. It was the first 2 came in, trolled the heck out my account. They trolled my live, came back, and I already peeped game, but it was to the point where I'm like, man, like all this for my little channel? Like what's so important that you got to flag or try to get my channel taken down? The message is so strong to the point where they just don't want nobody to live out here, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I met some pretty damn, good brothers. Being on, Roger's channel really showed me that there are way more good black men than there are bad ones. That's one of the things I appreciate the most about this channel, more so than anything.
Yeah, when it comes down to it, man, I keep trying to tell these guys, man, you gotta hold yourself accountable for all this bull crap that you're doing, and all these like, man, it's so many times I see these guys actually just with the buffoonery, man, just all that bull crap with each other. Like, come on, man, let's get rid of all this stuff. Like, let's focus on building and making this thing worthwhile, getting money. That's why I like a lot of times when we talk in the back, because more men, we start working with each other and start doing more stuff to kind of progress. Matter of fact, I'm actually about to close down this live copy. I'm actually about to close down this live because Alonzo just started one. I'm gonna refer everybody to try to go to Alonzo page, man. I mean, because my biggest thing, like I keep telling guys, that knowledge, man. If you don't have the funds and as far as the money to move in society, like, what are you doing? Like, your main focus. A lot of guys, I hear them talk about how bad these women are, but I never hear them say, I got too much money, I shouldn't be treated like this. There was one guy, he said that, and I laughed at him because he was like, man, I make 50,000. I mean, I make $100,000, and these women still ain't checking for me. I said, so you think they're gonna come just because you got the money? He was like, well, I said, nah, bro, that's a plus for you. That just shows what type of women that you're dealing with. You got to get out of that circle. See, a lot of guys don't know that mindset, man. You dealing with women in this type of circle, this what type of outcome you're gonna get. You only gonna get that outcome by the women you dealing with in that circle.
Can I read something?
Yeah, go ahead. Cool.
I've been reading this particular book. For any man that has a woman or women that you deal with, reading certain kinds of books together can be a very powerful way to build up intimacy on an intellectual level, especially if she has the mind for learning new things. I'm actually on the 3rd book right now. One of my ladies, and this is a great book. I mean, it is. This is, we read The Feminine and Fairy Tale together. Now I'm reading this book called The Golden Ass of Apuleius, The Liberation of the Feminine in Man. This is right up your alley, she with your Maxwell, man. Woman's, and actually, this is written by a woman too. She said, we are confronted here with a problem which is often overlooked by psychologists, be it by analysts of the Jungian or another direction. Although the archetype of the self, capital letter S, can sometimes appear in the initial dream presented by an analysan, which will be the patient, one must, as Jung emphasizes, first work out the integration of the shadow. If one does not do this, then the ego is too weak and does not have enough substance to endure the inner process. One can compare it to catching a huge fish which one cannot land, and it disappears together with the hook. The more shadow aspects the ego can integrate, the more vital, substantial, and strong it becomes, so that at the decisive moment it can land the fish. The moral and ethical qualities of the ego are decisive, for one cannot lie one's way out. These are very simple facts which many people cannot accept, so their individuation is prevented. Life itself, for instance, bad fortune, can help to integrate the shadow and to strengthen the ego. Being tortured by people in one's surroundings, which can be family too, being persecuted by them, also family, any kind of pressure such as poverty, help to strengthen the ego. I'm going to read that one more time. Being tortured by people in one's surroundings, even white folks, being persecuted by them, any kind of pressure such as poverty help to strengthen the ego. We can show this by what Booker T. Washington did by building the school with no PhD, no master's, no bachelor's. I would say that regular work is the best remedy. This is what her talking about me. Jung speaks of it in his seminars where he says that work is the means by which to overcome the mother complex and avoid being overwhelmed by the unconscious. I'm going to read that one more time. I would say that regular work is the best remedy. Jung speaks of it in his seminars where he says that work is the means by which to overcome the mother complex and avoid being overwhelmed by the unconscious. When these niggas do this shit, these niggas are suffering from a mother complex. They won't get in the game. They're going to tell you about white supremacy all day long, because it has nothing to do with white supremacy. They refuse to get in the game because they got the mother complex. To continue, she says, I remember a very intelligent young man who had a strong mother complex and who entered analysis mainly out of interest, but he was lazy, which is mankind's greatest passion. In his inner talks with the anima, who always appeared as a goddess. So this is in his dreams. He tried to defend himself with a realistic attitude, but he did not manage very well. When he asked her why she tortured him, she answered that she wanted him to become a man. He replied that she should give him a chance. This sounds very familiar. Motherfuckers in these spaces, man. When she reproached him with being weak, he asked how he could make himself adequate. She answered that he should look at the cornfields behind her and harvest them and bring in the harvest, and then he would be an adequate man. People who have a weak ego are too lost in their unconscious and cannot work regularly. Anybody carried by enthusiasm can work. But the problem of laziness begins when one has to do something which one does not feel like doing. Laziness is the bait by which the great mother catches us back. That is her greatest magic charm. Tlepolemus is the man who endures war and withstands difficulties. Lucius has been forced by fate into conflicts, but involuntarily. In mythology, Ares, the father of Eros, and some tales stands for war. And in the name Tlepolemus, there is a hidden allusion to Ares. Cherit is secretly one with Psyche, whereas Tlepolemus represents an aspect of the god of war. So in this particular part, I'm talking about an aspect in the book that she's critiquing, where she's talking about this particular man and how he was unable to integrate his anima properly. And she's talking about this by the book that this particular man wrote. Sharit is secretly one with Psyche, whereas Tlepolemus represents in that aspect of the god of war. He is an image of masculine, aggressive courage, of endurance, and the capacity to withstand conflict and go through it. Men need these qualities when faced with life or with a woman. Men who do not have them are afraid of women, for they feel that at the crucial moment and instinctively they will not react in an adequate way. If a man is afraid of women, he cannot love them. For you cannot love someone of whom you are afraid, because that will be a question of domination. That's why I've been saying for a long time that when niggas say they love their mama, it's not love. They fear their mama. And then they go out here and pick women to be fearful of as well. Real love contains a great amount of trust. And if you are afraid of someone, it means that you have no real confidence in them. That is why a mother's boy in relation to women is afraid and leaves them with an uncertain feeling of being cold and distant. For he knows that if the woman really gets aggressive, he will not be up to the situation. Basically, when it's time to check that bitch, he ain't gonna check. So what do? They come in these spaces thinking they're gonna check men because they're actually more fearful of women than they are of men, even though men can do more damage to them. He will not be able to take back the bouquet he has brought, slam the door and say something coarse, like, bitch, shut the fuck up, enough to shut up her animus. In marriage, men who have not assimilated their masculinity become henpecked husbands, just good enough to carry the luggage. If the wife makes a scene, some men go to a friend for advice. Then the friend says he must retain a cool head and take the upper hand. But that does not help because the woman feels that someone else has advised him to do this and just laughs at him because of that. That defense reaction must come out at the given moment and out of the instinctive basis. And this a man can only achieve if he has integrated his Tlepolemus. Then he can react at once in a spontaneous way. They can't do it. They scared of women. So we have dudes who come in these spaces, man, who fear women, trying to tell men who are productive, who are leaders in their own right, in their endeavors, in their own individual lives, trying to tell those men how they're supposed to think, how they're supposed to talk, how they're supposed to act. I'm not listening to no niggas that's scared of no damn woman. This is a woman that's saying, which is what I've been saying, your productivity is your greatest power. And when she was writing this book, she was talking about a white man who wrote a book. She was talking about a white man when she wrote this. She wasn't saying this about a black man. She was talking about a white man. Productivity. What are they constantly trying to keep these black men from hearing from us? Is how to be productive. And you have the same women, the same masculine women who come from mothers who have a mother complex too, because women are suffering from a mother complex as well. Because they're groomed by these women, they like to take these niggas on as their little boys, as their sons, because that's what they're groomed to do. They're not groomed to be a feminine woman that's going to submit to the man and what he's supposed to do. No, they're not going to do that. And then they're going to complain about it because neither one of them wants to address the reason why they're so fucked up. And it's because it's their mom. And they'll spend all their time going to channels, which is very ironic because if you are all about hating black men, why do you find yourself in spaces where black men are actually celebrating and uplifting black men's accomplishments? Because even something in your subconscious is driving you to the channel because somewhere in your subconscious is saying to you, motherfucker, you need to listen to this shit. No matter how much you don't like it, don't matter if you don't like it. You need to hear it because your ass need to wake up. Because that's all this stuff is doing. It's waking people up. because you don't have the full story of your father. At the end of the day, you can't sit here and say black men don't care about no black community. After slavery, one of the first things black men did was marry black women because legally they couldn't do it because it was their way to show that they were trying to set up families. Black men have been most known to be the most willing to be stepfathers. So if black men are willing to be stepfathers, you think they don't want to parent their own kids? Stop. Your mama is the problem. Your mama want to be like the white women. She want to be like the white feminist women. But only to the extent of looking like her and acting like her when it comes to being sexually loose. But when it comes to being married, because many of those white feminists, they still got married too. They had families. So the reality of the situation is this is what we're dealing with. And we just have to do a better job at policing our spaces so the men who want to hear the information can actually hear the information, get the information. If there are women who want to hear the information, that's cool. But our focus is the men. Our focus is the men because regardless of how silly the women are, us men, we still need to be strong no matter what. We still need to be capable no matter what. And if that means you're going to be that way for some other women in some other groups in other countries, then so be it. You know, they forcing men to make certain moves and make certain choices. That's on them. You know, ain't nothing you can do about that. But your productivity, your masculinity is going to come is way more important than your mother's love or some silly broad's approval. If you got to choose between your mother's love and your own sense of masculinity, you got to choose your masculinity, and your mother can never give it to you. It's either going to come through your father or through some other men that help you develop it. Bottom line.
Yeah, you're right. What's this? Delco?
Yeah, is the mic working?
You're connected. What's going
Can you
on?
hear me? I do. Is
Yeah, I
my
can hear you.
microphone working? Yeah. I didn't want to talk over
Hello?
you. Like I was waiting for you to give me the range, so to speak. But
Yeah.
there's no delay or anything like that because last time I was on one of these StreamYards, I had that problem. No, I just want to come up and give you guys your kudos and say at least my piece on, or at least add what I thought might be some of the similar issues we had by sharing that idea that everything you guys touched upon really, even though we're not ADOS, or at least I'm not, we have the same issues in the diaspora of the African diaspora rather. Me being Somalian, we have the same issues as you guys have. Not to the same degree, obviously, but we do have men who, by their looks, are men, but their mentality is that of children. In every aspect of their life, they are not stepping up to what is expected and required of men to represent their culture, their nation, and their people. Rael mentions that these dudes are scared of the woman, and by doing so, they are rather eager to fight men instead of telling their woman to shut up. We don't have that issue to the same degree as you guys might have, but the problem is still here. If it hadn't been for the culture that we came up on and that gave us guidance and protection from these kind of issues, we would have been done. We would have been in the same predicament as you guys are in. And it is literally seeing a mirror to what can happen if you don't get your shit together, or at least if you don't maintain what has been given to you by your ancestors. And this is one of the main reasons I love being a part of the Black Manosphere, regardless of what different people have said. Last week, I was on the Swirler section, and I was listening and seeing to the same dudes that you guys are referring to, dudes who would come up, but as soon as the women raised their voice, would cower and start diminishing themselves and what they are all about. Can you guys hear me, or am I just talking to myself?
No, we can hear you. Just like
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, just let me talk.
Yeah. No, and I think there's great issues that are facing us, regardless of what community we might be part of, and if we don't really put up a stance and say Black men do have a lot of things that they can contribute to their communities more often than the women, then we are pretty much done. Really, not to the same degree as you guys have, but for you guys, you are way more fucked up than we are. Excuse the French, but it is nice to see, at least to give me a source of pride and joy, to see at least you guys putting up a stance and saying, you know what, we are taking back the community. This belongs to us, and it is not any longer going to be dictated by women and those forces that might use our women against us. And it's been that way for a long time, because you guys didn't see the enemy that was sleeping right next to you. But now that you can see it, it is not only being, it is having a positive effect, not only for you guys, but for us too. So we have, in every way imaginable, benefited from the work you guys are doing. So I just want to let you guys know and give you guys your, thanks, and give myself at least offer you guys whatever work we're doing here as a talking point, as whatever you guys might need to further your cause.
Well, you got to look at it like this. It's always a blueprint before the building gets built. And if, with a lot of people, they fail in their structure. So as in the Black Manosphere, that's why it's trying to get broken down, because the foundation is already starting to build, and a lot of people don't want that outcome. Because once the building is built, we're standing in it. No one's tearing it down. The foundation's already put in through the first and second, throughout the Manosphere. Shout out to Perfect Timer with 5.0. He's pushing his, going in that direction as well, to where he's trying to keep the mantle going, to where if it get knocked down, just like Roger said, if he come up with the Roger Report 4, then he come up with the Roger Report 5, the Roger Report 6, no matter what, you know how many people would have quit by now? Yeah. You got to understand the dedication to the message. I mean, easily, just like Malcolm, Martin, all them, the dedication to the message, that stood the test of time more than anything.
The Black Manosphere is not in the same predicament as having such a few leaders, though. I think if it's Roger were to go down, you would come up, or someone else. There's now, even Rael can make his own channel. Black in Effect, Mr. Z, he's got a good thing going, and he's coming up just nicely. A lot of people in this sphere now have understood at least the algorithm, and have started taking the business aspect of this a little bit more serious. What they're saying, how they're saying it, and things and loopholes to avoid, they're taking every measure possible. So it's not as easy as previously to take, the current sphere down. There's no one who's, aggravating anybody unnecessarily. And the message now is, let's say it as it is. Really, it's mainstream. It's gone mainstream. No matter where you go, I think you can fairly say that the message has been received, and that's what making it so dangerous to a lot of people, especially someone who is working within my field. Even in this country, I see the problems, but what am I going to do? There's change coming. Corona, I don't know if I can say that in your
Nah, you good.
Yeah, the pandemic at least has caused everyone to reflect and see what their life has been about, and if they want to continue on the current path that they're on. And everything seems to be coming down to traditional, coming back to traditionalism. You can't go about it. When everything else failed, having a base fundamental or sound fundamentals in the form of a family is what's required in order for us to survive. I can't be anywhere without my family. I regret saying it, but there's been a couple of dudes who have managed to survive without having that same privilege that I have had, but still, it is not the same. No longer does a black man have to, lift himself up from his bootstrap. There are a lot of ways, a lot of venues, and a lot of people who look like you who know your predicament that can help you. I myself have now started started a school for a youth center for kids in the same who come from the same area that I come from, who are Somali. And not only are we teaching them the Quran and the traditions and the oral history of their culture, but also giving them what they need to know in order to succeed in this society, at least. When I started law school, I was told I was the second black person to ever be in the university, and for whatever reason, the current professor that told me that at the time, he said, "Don't take this the wrong way, but considering how long you've been in this country, there's going to be a huge language barrier for you to, to succeed. If you fail, I won't be surprised." He was expecting me to be emotional. I didn't get emotional. Instead, I said, "You know what? That'd been good information to know in advance, but now that I do know, I got to work 10 times as hard as the other students." And guess what? I did make it. I did get I made the, what do you call it, Hippocratic oath that you need here in order to get the paper, in order to license to practice law. And guess what? I had set a goal now this year to make sure that there are at least 5 other kids, black children, to be put in the same, into law school. So that if I can do at least that, make sure that 5 other students start because of me, and give them the same message that each one of them can have their own 5. That's going to be 25. And if those 25 make 5 of their own, I don't even know the number of that. That's 125 students. That makes up more than the entire class of said year for a law student. And that's what I've learned coming here, that not only can you help yourself and succeed, but crush the door. Make it open for those that come in behind you, that overall, the majority of us have it better than we did coming up. I'm not going to say anything my parents did wrong. They did everything that they could. They gave me life. They brought me to this country, even though it was impossible. I've lost, siblings because on the road to coming here. But because we're here now, what's stopping you? As a black man, really, you are more privileged than any other black man have been previously in history. And not only do you have to work here and make something out of yourself, but you got to also take care of your family and your extended family. You got to send money back home so that those people who not because of your predicament don't have the same opportunities you have can at least survive. And just last year, I got my first home back there in Somalia. I managed to collect money and make so that, I got I told my family, that I wanted to build home, and my dad was like, "You can have the home if you can build it. It's yours." And I did it. Now I have a home back there, and I have a home here, and I have a 10-month-old, and my wife is now pregnant again. So any thing you said, she will be literally taken into consideration as to how I might want to raise him to become, at least my first son, to become as a man. And if God willing, hopefully my second child will come here and have a perfect health. And then we'll take that when that, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it.
Yeah. That's the key, man. Learning things, you can pass on to the next generation. But like I said, I'm about to go ahead and drop Alonzo's link so everybody can go over there. And I'm about to get ready to end this. But nice to see you coming up. And shout out to Riot as well. And like I always say, man, we here and we gone. Like I said, everybody go over to Alonzo, just drop the link. We'll go from there.
All right, man. Have a good evening or a good
All
day,
right.
depending on the time
All
zone you're at.
Excellent. Peace, y'all.
Peace.